What up, team? Big Lauer in the house. What's good? What up, Tyler? Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to a little agency therapy, baby. A little new view for you guys today. I reorganized my office a bit, so you gotta look at like this ugly ass TV behind me and this couch for the time being until we get set up right, you know. But hey, it's not about the view; it's about the content, right? It's about the content. Yeah, the new setup. I get to look at the nice view now, which is kind of ideal. Okay? Gonna get the creative juices going just a little bit. Took last week off. Agency therapy was doing a little traveling with the family. And so, yeah, we didn't do agency therapy last week. So if you missed us last week, I'm sorry. I apologize. But sometimes your boy needs a little break from the day-to-day hustle. But overall, back, new setup, new content, new agency therapy. It's an exciting day. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the routine. Sometimes I find that getting out of the day-to-day can be effective for the creative juices. It gives you the opportunity to open up the mind a little bit, get out of the day-to-day routine, and not be so stuck in just like the monotony of running a business and being so disciplined on getting your content completed, doing your client fulfillment, right? You need some of that mix, some the almost new energy, right? That you're able to kind of bring to yourself to fill your cup up, right? You need a new change of pace in order to get those creative juices going. Because if you kind of just do the same thing over and over again, it becomes mundane, right? It becomes boring, and so you have to break that routine every. Yeah. Anyway, that's not even what we're talking about today. But I wanted to chat with you guys. It's like too high in my face. I want to chat with you guys today. And this one is more geared, and it can be geared towards both parties, but more geared towards if you're an employee of an agency, this will probably be an effective training for you. But also, I guess if you are an agency owner, it is good to get into the mindset of like, okay, how do I make sure that I'm paying my team to get paid, right? And so I want to break down a couple things for you guys today. Know that we have to bring up the mural one first. And this is I've got like some stuff pre-planned for this, but I didn't write anything out. Last week or the last agency therapy that I did, I kind of just did like some live mappings, which we're going to do again this week because I enjoyed that, and it's nice. I have to be so prepared sometimes for things, right? And I'm prepared for this, but this one isn't anything that I pre-diagrammed. What that looks like. What's it share? Oh, it's share. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna move this over here for a second. Give me 2 seconds as I reorganize the screen here. I have my screens laid out. I decided to go with a vertical screen on one of them, and the other screen is just horizontal. All right, so let's dive in. If you guys aren't familiar with the agency therapy stream board, you should get familiar with it because one, it's free, which is pretty cool. Let me share it with you guys real quick. I'll drop it in the chat. You guys get access to that. But one, it's free, which is nice. It's a nice to have. But the second part of this is that there's a lot of trainings on a lot of different things, and I explain it every time on agency therapy. But if you guys are like looking for lead gen tactics and landing clients and stuff like that, onboarding clients, right? Picking your niche and niching down. We've got the one-page impact plan and creating offers, right? So there's a lot of different resources here for you guys to utilize. It's free. Okay, this is stuff that worked for our agencies. So use a lot of different consultancy now, and it can work for you. But here's the thing: you gotta apply it. The application has to be there, right? Without an application, it's kind of useless. It's kind of worthless. So if you're not gonna apply it, don't probably just leave this stream right now if you're not gonna apply it. So and anyway, all right, let's build out a new frame here and let's get to work. How does that sound? Does that sound like a game plan? Are you in or are you out? That's the question. You better be at part 18. Okay. And this one is specifically what do I call this again? I changed my screen like that. You guys see it change? I don't think so. All right. This is not the easiest setup screen. Normally I have two horizontal screens, so I'm learning. I'm learning. All right, let's put the topic here. That way we know. Oh no, it's not. It's or that way we know for the future and anyone else that comes in. All right, ready to. All right, how to make a higher salary. Strong. Okay, so I think before we talk about like specifically make a higher salary, there's something high level that we kind of have to realize. I'm just going to stick this block over here. Okay. There's something high level that we have to realize. It's not really just good. There's 3 specific levels of okay. And it's funny if you guys have just read Taylor Walsh's book, he mentions this. It's not I wouldn't consider it a good concept by any means, but he explains it really well in his new book, The Wealth of Consulting. But this applies to multiple different types of businesses, not just consultants. It also applies to agencies. But there's essentially 3 levels what he talks about. So I'll give him credit. So I don't think this is an original dub. But 3 levels of improvements. Yeah. So first level, level 2. Okay. Level 1 are labor. Okay. And let's break these out first before we let me zoom in a little bit that way you guys can see this better. Okay, level 1 are going to be your labor employees. Okay. Level 2, I think he actually has like reverse order. I think he starts with 3 and then works down, but I like to lay it out like this. Level 1, level 2 are going to be your manager, employees, management, and did I spell that wrong? All right, management, and then level 3 is going to be your decision makers. Okay. Sorry, end of day brain. The spelling is going to be a little bit again. All right, so 3 levels here. You got level 1 labor, level 2 management, level 3 decision maker. So level 1 labor, this is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll explain it a little bit further for you. So level 1 labor, just kind of meaning, hey, this is these are people that are just going to take day-to-day tasks off it. That's really what it comes down to. This is delegation at its finest, right? So we're delegating the day-to-day tasks to a labor force to allow us to have more ability, more capabilities to be able to work on higher level and higher leverage activities within the business, right? So you're delegating a lot of labor of the tasks at hand, right? So a lot of times people bring on people for fulfillment, people for sales, or people for client success, so they can delegate a certain part of labor off of their plate. Now, normally the range on something like this, I would say, it's going on like 50K to like maybe like 70K. Like if you're like a really high for employee inside of an agency, this is kind of where you're the thing, right? So these are like your media buyers, not necessarily like a senior media buyer that would be more like management level, but like media buyers, people in the creative space, production specialists, post-production specialists. Like this is kind of where you can hope to land on the labor side of things, right? 50, 70K. It's not necessarily a very big position. You're just taking on labor from people, right? Or you're taking on labor from the leadership. That's what it comes down to. Now, the second level 2, which is management, right, is that we are delegating the management of team off of. Now, this is another piece that becomes extremely important for the leadership team, for the founding team to delegate off of their plate, is having someone else manage the team for them. So this would be like the next thing. Okay, so you're delegating management. Yeah, and these people, they're going to be more like your mid-level managers. So at this point, like, this is not the C-level team. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So not C-suite. That's going to be at the decision maker level, but you're delegating not necessarily decisions, but you're delegating the management of the team. Okay, so these are people that can manage people at a high level. They will be able to, one, do some labor, but also be able to manage the team that's doing labor. So if you kind of think of it in a structure of team, okay, so think of like founder, CEO at the top, CEO. All right, founder, CEO at the top. Let's give this a nice green today. All right, so founder, CEO at the top. Okay, you'd have your management level below it, and then you would have your labor. Okay, so this is kind of how it tiers out. So founder, CEO level, again, this will be like C-suite, and then management, right? So in a series of like direct reports, this is how it would lay out. Okay, you would have, founding team, management, labor. Okay, that's essentially how things tier out. Now, this last level here, the decision maker, or level 3, this decision maker level. Okay, we are actually delegating decisions. Oh, I want to fill in one more thing here on management level, is that these guys will keeps the team accountable for KPIs. Yeah, so that's the management level, is they're going to also keep the team accountable for KPIs. Remember, this is not the C-suite. Okay, not the C-suite. And then level 3, that decision maker, you're delegating decisions, things like, let's make a little list here. Firing. Select firing. They have decision maker ability to do this. Now, maybe they check in with like the CFO or something, make sure that that's good with them, right? So obviously there's some financial stuff there, but they're in control of like who gets hired into the position, maybe not when, but who gets hired into the position, who gets fired from the position. They actually do the firing themselves. Strategy for that specific department, and we'll talk departments here in a second as well. Hire, fire strategy, right? Pretty much any high level decision in their department. Yeah. Now, the idea behind this is that you're hiring people at level 3 or in this decision maker ability, that their abilities, their capabilities, their skill level is much higher than your level, right? That's why you brought them in as a C level, like a chief marketing officer, a CFO, a COO, is because their ability, their skill level is much higher than what yours is. Okay, and so I didn't put salary ranges for these, but let's do it. Yeah, so normally this management level, and this is where it's important for the team to understand this, is that this management level normally going to be, I would say like 80K per year, upwards to like 150 per year. Yeah, for this management level. Yeah, and then down here at the C level, okay, we're talking like 150K plus normally. Yeah. Now the C level, one caveat I will put in here is that you really shouldn't start hiring C-level until about 5 mil per year. Yeah, 5 mil per year is when you guys should be hiring C-level employees. Yeah. So let's do C level gets hired around this time. Yeah. So you need to be a pretty large organization in order to support. Now, people give C-level promotions all the time, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm the C. Like I came on as the second employee at my agency as the COO. I didn't even know what COO stood for at the time, but it's really not the title doesn't matter, right? And I never, for me, like I didn't earn that title until later on. But for the most part, like this is just like the title is so unnecessary. People always get hired and like, yeah, like, I'm the COO of business doing, you know, $1 million per year. It's like you're not doing the level of work that's needed at this decision maker level. Like you're probably still in fulfillment. Like when we were doing $1 million per year in our agency, I was still doing fulfillment work. I was still I was pretty much a manager right at that point, right? I was doing high management. So really that title COO, that wasn't my job at the time, right? But this is how things can essentially tier out as far as the employee goes. So if you're wanting to make more money, these levels are actually really important for you to understand, whether you're a founder, whether you're an employee of an agency. Hey, if we're wanting to make more money, we need to understand things it takes in order to progress through the agency and through these things, right? So I'm just making pretty fast. Yeah. So we need to know what it takes to actually progress. And so if you guys are just labor, if you guys are just labor employees, well, then you'll probably be stuck right around here, to be honest, right? A 50, 70K per month mark. And like if you're just taking tasks off of the founder's plate or whatever, okay, that's great and all, but it has capacity and it has limits, and you're probably not going to exceed this 50 to 70K per year range. Now, if you're wanting to get the pay bump, then okay, you're probably gonna have to step into management. And it is going to take leadership skills. It's going to take the ability to keep people accountable and to be able to track KPIs and be able to take delegation of management off of the founder or CEO, right? That's what it takes. And that's what it takes to move into management. And if you don't have what it takes to be a manager, then and you're not continually working on those skills and you don't have a high enough level of skill to hold people accountable to KPIs and to be able to coach them into KPIs if necessary, then you're not going to make the money that you want. And one complaint that we normally hear is, I don't want to spend extra time doing the continued education or the personal development. Like I should be doing that on company time. Well, here's the thing, like to be completely honest, there's people that are willing to do that on company, not on company time in their free time in order to earn the school. So if that's kind of the mindset around it, you're probably gonna just be stuck here at Blue for a very long time, or forever, right? Because that's not the mindset of a management person, right? They're gonna take the time to develop the skills to actually be a management person, right? Now, if you're management and you're wanting to go into decision maker, right, and you're wanting to earn that C-level, you're working up within the company. This level is a different level of understanding of the specific lane of the agency that you're actually managing, and you have to learn things like decision making, hiring, firing, a lot of the high level strategy that goes into each of these departments. Now, from a department standpoint, look at this. From a department standpoint, let's lay it out for a quick second. And I think this is really going to come full circle for you guys. Okay. I've talked about this before, but there's essentially 5 departments that agencies run. Okay. First one being lead gen / marketing. Now, this is lead gen marketing internally. This is not client fulfillment. Okay, so lead gen and marketing. You have sales. You have fulfillment of whatever service that you are offering to clients. You have finance. And you have HR. Now, arguments can be made for different lanes and different operational lanes. But like this is what operations is here. Okay. Essentially. Are these five? So lead gen and marketing internally, right? Your ability to generate leads. Sales, fulfillment, finance, human resources. Really organized this way, fulfillment, human resources, finance. Yeah. Now, in each of these lanes, you have to understand that there's only room for probably 5 decision makers, right? Because you're going to have a decision maker per meeting, right? So this might be your CMO over here. This might be your CRO, Chief Revenue Officer. Okay. Fulfillment, we'll just say COO. COO is kind of like a weird position where really COO is kind of like this, right? Where it's overseeing every department at a high level. So they oversee everything at a high level. And then the CEO, right, sits up here above the COO, and the COO reports upwards. Try to all this down fast right now. Right, so this is really how it should look. And sometimes, the CMO it can be like kind of like back and forth between fulfillment and gen, right? But we'll just kind of keep it here for simplicity's sake. And like COO will manage like a lot of fulfillment stuff as well. And then maybe even like human resources, but you might have a CFO down here under finance, right? At some point, which usually not super necessary. Normally your COO, if you want them to be skilled enough to help on the financial side until you can afford a CFO. So normally the last one, like I would much rather have like CRO, right? Than the COO. Like those would be the first ones. So really like in this specific model, like there are only 5 seats. The CEO seat's priority taken. Okay. So the opportunity for an actual employee is going to be COO, CMO, COO, CFO, right? Now, underneath this, we're going to have management level, okay? Probably in each of these lanes as well. And this might be, this might be like lead, be a buyer. Okay, and management level has, I don't know if I said 5. That's not mental. That's set 5. Management level might have multiple under here because especially in fulfillment, you can have multiple managers in fulfillment, especially if you have multiple services in your agency. So you might have a creative director. You might have a lead media buyer over here, right? Or a lead media buyer. So there's a lot that can happen on like under the fulfillment lane. I'm just going to use 2 for now. CRO, right? They're going to be managing. Normally going to be managing account executives, and then under them they might have like SDRs, right? And that's like that's going to hurt, right? So let's color these different because we want to differentiate the decision maker level. Let's make them purple. Okay. Blue is just going to be our lanes. And then let's make these guys. This is going to be our management level. And then what else? Human resources. What is the other plan for now? Really one of the last things that we usually bring in, but like maybe you could have like a hiring manager, right? Even that's like, in my opinion, kind of labor. On the financial side, you might have like a SMMA or something over here, right? I'll deal with that. But even that's probably labor. let's start building out some labor as well, right? Let's make labor red. Okay. So see how this starts to like really tiered out, but like, hey, there's only a certain amount of like management level. That's a big. Let's do this. Let's make this one. Let's make labor red over here. It's gonna bring opacity down. It's that was looks kind of ugly. And then decision maker. Look at the league. Purple I use, but cool. So hopefully that's making sense so far. It's a so hopefully that's making sense so far. So basically, like you're gonna have all your labor down here. And obviously, like labor force is always gonna be the largest as far as like people go, right? You're gonna have a lot of labor down here. And there's a lot of positions in labor, and that's why specifically they don't get paid as much, right? Is because you guys are just taking tasks off of the plate of management and of the leadership or decision maker. Okay. So this is how you need to start thinking about getting your pay raises and getting paid more within an agency organization, is that if you're just on the labor level, right, there's not a lot that's going on here, right? Like don't get me wrong, I'm sure you're skilled and you have talents. You're really good at your job, but you're just taking day-to-day tasks off the plate of the management. So if you're wanting to excel, you have to understand like, hey, we have to be able to move into leadership, move into management in order to get a pay bump, right? That's really what it comes down to. It's like we have to be able to lead team, we have to be able to uphold the standard and be able to have a higher level of knowledge than what the labor has, right? And if you have that higher level of knowledge than labor, if you can hold people accountable, you can show consistency on hitting KPIs and moving the specific department or lane that you're in, whether it's lead gen, marketing, sales, fulfillment, HR, finance, if you can move that department forward, then you can earn this type, right? Earn this type of management. And if you dominate inside management, you can hold people highly accountable. You can learn to delegate some of these decisions. You can learn hiring, firing, some of the strategy, high level decision making within the business. You have the opportunity to move into a decision maker role. And this is essentially how things tend to tier out when it comes to labor, right? And earning a pay raise. So if you're wanting to make more money, this is how to do it. Okay. Now, if you're running an agency, how do you know? Like, how do you know when it's the right time to give pay raises and things like that? Well, there's a lot of nuances that kind of go into it, but one of like the tried and true ways is going to be specifically around here. Is around billable hours. Okay. So the more billable we can make our team, the more work that they can specifically do, the more profitable. So to clarify, like, billable hours are essentially just going to be like, hey, anything that is billable to the client, work that is going towards a client project is a good thing, right? Because that means that we're making money off of you working on something like that. Okay. Now, the less billable the team becomes, and this works from a management decision maker level, like decision makers aren't very billable. They're not going to be working on projects, right? People that are high on the labor side, right? So like say like you don't want to be in management, so you don't want to be in a decision maker role, and you're wanting to make more money strictly just being like someone in labor. It's very doable. You just have to be able to show that you are more billable than someone else on the team, right? So if you're able to take on 10 clients and everyone else averages 8 clients, right? That means you're more billable and that you can have a higher capacity, higher workload capacity for for the team, and you're able to generate more revenue because you're able to take on more clients or more revenue. We call this revenue per head, right? And if you could show that you can generate more revenue for your seat than anyone else on the team, then chances are you can get paid, right? It's simple. Today, if you could generate more cash flow, more revenue for the business because you can take on more clients, then you should get paid, right? So if you're wanting to stay in more of a leader seat and you're not wanting to move into management, which is totally fine. I don't think everyone was made for management or in a decision maker seat, then you have to have the ability to be able to bring on more labor. So that is a way to kind of like move around it. If you want to make more money and you don't want to be a decision maker, then that's it, right? And we call that like build, right? And really the only way to figure that out like is through time tracking. We're going to actually like, calculate those billable hours of like, hey, these are the projects I work on. This is the average revenue, and you might have to get some insights from your management or even from a decision maker. But if you tell them like that's what you're working on and like that's what you're trying to figure out, one, you're probably a good fit for management at that point. Like thinking at that high of a level of like, hey, let me see how billable I am as an individual, and let's see how I can expand and be more, right? Because chances are you're building better SOPs. You're doing work at a more efficient rate because you're able to take on clients. So you're figuring things out that are actually going to push the business forward, which is exactly what a manager would do, right? So all in all, I think if you have that drive, it's either you have it or you don't. If you have that drive, then you're probably a good fit for management. So that's pretty much it. I hope that all makes sense. I haven't even looked at comments yet, so I'll stop sharing my screen, and we can chat. We can chat. Felix, what up, my dude? Retro setup, 6 minutes behind, catching up right now. Let's go. The title is juicy. I know. I mean, I try to be a marketer. I want to see a lot of heart. I've got a little marketing gusto. Peter, what's good, brother? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. What was the question? How much would we pay the level 2? 70 to 90K? Yeah, so I would say like, I mean, and here's the thing, like there's always going to be ranges for like this middle management level. I kind of scope like 80K to 150K per year at this level. That's kind of what we see. Like your lead media buyers, like I know some lead media buyers, some make around 200K a year. But like that's a very skilled position to be a lead media buyer that is going to lead strategy, right? Like even those guys are doing a lot of strategy, but it's more like billable strategy of like, hey, we have to do strategy for clients. It's not like leading the charge, like the overall strategy. Normally, your seat is going to make that, right? So that's normally the range that we see when it comes to employees. It's going to be probably like that 80K, 150K per year range. And then maybe some like different styles of compensation as well. Like whenever we talk compensation, we always talk fixed compensation and variable compensation. They might have a variable comp that can increase their total compensation a little bit. So just giving some standard guidelines. I wouldn't say it's a rule by any means, but just some standard guidelines there. Sometimes it might be percentage of a book of business. Yes, true, right? So when we talk about book of business, right? So if if someone can take on 10 clients and the rest of the team averages 8, that person has a larger book of business that they're managing, that they're utilizing labor for. So if you can take on a bigger book of business, then chances are you can pay as well. Sudsy in the building. What up, my dude? But got new setup. Said got it. Yeah, man. We just moved the desk around and stuff. Gave me a little bit more room, which is kind of nice. So cool. What other questions? Hopefully that makes sense from a standpoint of labor. 3 levels of employees. You got your labor level, you got your management, and your decision maker level. So relatively simple training today. Short, sweet, effective. Down to answer some more questions you guys have. not, I'm freaking starving. I'm ready to go eat something. To be honest. Comments, questions, concerns. Wrap up a little agency therapy. We'll probably have a little bit longer stream on the next one. I know this one was only 40 minutes, but sometimes you just gotta roll with the topics and just get it done. All right, team. No other questions. I love it. I appreciate you guys coming today. Thanks for attending a little agency therapy. We'll see you on the next.